All right, this is my overview of my 877 final project. Let me tell you what I focused on. I've made a lot of videos and I wanted to make one. I wanted to actually fix a video, and this is a redo of a video that I've made already that I did in my critique. And I wanted to focus a lot on being clear and also some of the shots, making sure that, like, I don't have many shot angles, but I wanted to be very precise and very good at the ones I did. I wanted to focus on lighting. Lighting is huge, and this is the place, the shop in my school, that I do all of my video work, and therefore this is my studio. And I was trying to set it up so that I could know how to make further videos, so I could have consistency along all of my videos that I have for my students. And so I think I've got a couple good setups here that will make it easier to make the next video. So lighting was a big one. Also sound was a big one that I worked on also, because sound in this big empty space is a tricky one. It's very echoey, but at the same time, the students expect it to be echoey because I'm in a shop. And so there's going to be some of that, but I wanted to minimize it. And so I found that the best way was through a Rode mic, which is a very directional mic. And so basically it's sitting, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but it's sitting right in front of me, just out of that view of the angle of the camera, and it's pointed up at my face. And I found that it does really, really well. When I compare the sound coming from that mic as compared to the sound that I had on my phone, I use my phone as a camera, then it was way less echoey. And so I could eliminate the sound from my video camera and I could just use it from the Rode mic. So that was fantastic. You can see in my video editor that I actually eliminated the sound from all of those spaces if I needed to. Sometimes I wanted some sound coming for some of my tools that I was using, so I left some of the sound there when I was using Impact. But for the most part, I got rid of it and just used the sound. This video editor works really well because it can match the sound from a video to the sound from a different recorder. Like I used a different phone to record with my Rode mic. So it matched it up, makes it super simple and super easy. I don't have to spend all that time trying to line up and make it sure that it doesn't echo. So it works very, very well. This is my introduction. So this is just like 5 seconds or whatever, or 3 seconds of introduction I will use for all of my videos. Perhaps the picture will change. This picture was very applicable to the video later that you'll see. I know that the students really look at me as someone who knows what they're doing, and they pay attention a lot more when they see me working. And so a video of me working or a picture of me doing actual work helps them trust me a little bit more, that I might know what I'm talking about. So I have a lot of just standing in front of the camera in my introduction. And the reason why is because there's a lot of information, and sometimes a change in camera angles is distracting. Now, I know Mark wanted a lot of show your stuff. I guess I'm focusing more on making sure I'm precise in what I'm doing in each shot. So that's my focus. I know that if we're just going to play a little bit where they're a little bit nervous. Did they torque all the bolts right? Did they put everything in the right spot? I want to make sure that I'm using my hands, that I'm being very animated. That's how I teach. I want to be engaging with my whole body. And I find that works. It's worked for a while now, and I think it can work in little bits in a video too. So that's what I was working on, the sound and the lighting. I zoom in here and come in a little bit closer. And the reason why I come in closer is just a little bit of a change. You may notice, actually you won't notice, but there was a clock sitting right there in all of these shots. If I took the clock off the wall, there's a big hole in the wall. So, and this was the best place in the shop to do this. And so what I did was in my video editor, I found a way to move them around. And so if I double click on this, I can actually move this back and forth, and you may actually, I got to click on this one. You may actually see the clock appear. There it comes. There's the clock. Yeah, so you may actually see the clock appear. Whoops, I better hit undo on that one. There we go. So you may actually see the clock appear there. I got rid of it, and it's a really handy thing that we can do there. Yeah, what else? Next, I tell a story about me. This is just video that I shot years ago when I was pulling engine on my car. Transitions, there's a little transition here where I use, let me go to the transition screen here. I use dissolve in this section right here. I'll just let her play. I realized it had been a while since I had performed this type of job. I wanted to show the passage of time, and the camera had not changed. The camera angle, neither the equipment, and neither anything in there other than it's lifting up. So I thought that worked well as far as that goes. You can see down here, down in my editor, down at the bottom here, I adjusted the volume. This is my little volume adjuster. The jack, when I was jacking it up, it's got a nasty little squeak, and it was very distracting to what I was trying to say. And so because of that, I wanted to get rid of it. But I wanted some of the noise in these clips. And so if I just let it cut off right away, then you totally noticed it. But if I gradually had the sound disappear in this clip, and when it wasn't there in the other one, then it was a lot more gradual, and you didn't notice it. I don't think you can notice it, so you can tell me if you do. So my transition here from taking the engine out right to here, it seems a little abrupt to me. Over the years, I developed some skills. Yeah, so I don't know if that's too abrupt or not. I'm not exactly sure. My wife thought it was, but I wasn't sure I could do anything with it. I tried to play with it, but because of the editing I was doing with the clock up here, that messed everything up. And so I decided it wasn't worth it. I thought it was good enough. And so, yeah. And then I sort of slowly... I'll fit into three words. The words are... Look. Okay, now some editing that I did here. I read a study that said when you have an indicator, so I'm holding up my fingers for everyone, and I'm going to do that throughout the video. I am also showing these show up exactly when I say the word. I had to be very precise. I will show you how I did that. It comes up in its own little screen here, and when I pressed play on here, look, fit, and do. The way that I timed it was as soon, like let's talk about fit. As soon as my lips were in the F part, that's where I put the edge of when that fit should come in, and that really helped the timing perfectly. Now, the study said that if you can get proximity and connect that to an action that the person is doing, and that the word you're saying, if it's a new word that you're introducing or a new concept, is you're saying it at exactly the right time the word comes up, they're more likely to remember it. And so I very, very carefully did that. I had my pause between my look, fit, and do questions and when I just introduced it was just too long. And if I cut it, then you would notice me moving just slightly, and you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go from one camera angle to the same camera angle just further on, because you're going to notice it. So what I did was I just took a chunk and sped it up, and I don't think you can see it. What does it look like? But I don't think people notice it. So we're going to go with that. So I go through those look, fit, do. Works quite well, I thought. And then I'm going to transition into the other side of the shop. Again, this is on my 4-post hoist. I have 4 hoists, and this I have lighting right above me that is off, and then I have a bank of ceiling lights that is on, and that's the key light. And then I have a fill light that is coming in sort of from this area here to the right of the camera, and it's got a yellow light, and that yellow is there specifically to just change my color and make it a little more real. And so that's what I did there. I also played with lighting back here. It seemed really dark and shadowy in the back here. And so what I did was I just took a light and shone it up against the wall, and it just brightened up that wall, brought the car of the distinction here and maybe a little bit to my shoulder. And I thought it worked quite well. I also have a little mezzanine that's way up here. You can't see it. There's a light on there. I think that made a difference too, and just shining through. So I just played with all the lights I had in the shop and tried to figure that out. But I think it came out well. I'm positioned here sort of at the thirds, so I didn't want to be too much in the center. The center is right about here. My tires here. The actions are in the thirds, it looks like. A big bulbous nose here. I thought that was the best angle that I could get. I tried many different angles. So yeah. So let's see, what else can I tell you about this part? I'm introducing look, do, look, feel. I love stories, so I'm telling a story about a car coming in and we have to take this spare tire off and put the real one on. Over the shoulder look, I didn't change the lighting. The lighting is a little bit disturbed because of the lighting on my impact here. It has lights that shine. You can see it reflecting off my fingers. I probably could have done a little bit of editing to get rid of that shine, but that was I didn't have time for that. So we can work at that. I introduced the word look at exactly the right time. Yeah, as I go in, yeah, here's another one that I did. I'm just going to play this. That on the bottom, it's tapered. So my wife, when I showed it to her, she says, what's tapered? She knows what it is, but students wouldn't. And so I added these lines. I had to get a little creative because I didn't want to buy any effects. And so I have all these effects that I could use, but most of them are not free. And so what I did was this is actually, it's text. It's just an underline that I could move around and I could adjust like that. And so because of that, I made tapered. And then when I press play again, and on the top, it's flat. So I timed that exactly to be when I said tapered and flat. It's just, it pops when you put those things in exactly at the same time that you set it. So that's highly effective. Yeah. What else do I have here? Again, I'm explaining a lot of little things that I had to do in the video editing as far as putting this fit in and all of that stuff. I spun this. I got a super close look here. Again, this is 1080p, so it could probably be a little clearer. I wish I could have done it with a little bit sharper, but again, the students, they're watching this on their phone mostly, and so, or low resolution screens on the cheap Chromebooks that we have in the class. So yeah, I zip that nut on. So I did the voiceover for these right in the shop there. I wanted the voice to match when I was talking because I didn't want to be a distinct version of that. Some of the voiceovers I've gone and hid in a closet and talked, and it's very, very quiet and very muted in there. But you would have noticed that I was in a different place. And I didn't want it to sound like that. I wanted it to sound like I was talking, just like I was in the rest. So that's why I very intentionally did that. I put the lug nuts on there. I wonder if I took too long on that. It took a little while. I could have shortened that up a bit, but by the time I sort of thought that, everything was sort of in place, and changing that little bit would have messed up everything else. So this is my point of view subjective. I'm just looking straight on and I'm giving that a try. I like this view because you can see the wheel is. When we have that tape, I've done a focus all the way in, but sometimes you focus so close in on a part, you don't even know where that is. And so you need context and perspective. And I thought this was good. Would have been good if you could have seen my hands moving it back and forth, but then you weren't close enough quite to see these things. And they're on their phone, so it's a little screen. It's probably about as big as this is on my computer. And so I thought that was effective. What else do I have here? So I have a conclusion, I talk about it, and then I send them on their way to do another engine. I did not change the lighting at all for this. I thought there's a pretty good perspective that I'm just turning. And so when I play this, I try to have the transition look like it's just two cameras, but there was only one camera. And so I just moved the camera over here, took another little video. When I'm doing my audio and I'm talking, I do each one. It takes about 20 times before I actually get it. I don't understand why I can stand in front of a class and it just flows out, but in front of a camera, I'm a bumbling idiot. But that's how it works. And so it takes me a few times, but I give them a challenge at the end and send them on their way. This video is used in part of the process of them doing engine number 2. They've done engine number 1 already. and I have videos that take them step by step through an engine, and now they have to do it all on their own. And so that's why these skills are important for them. I hope that helps you understand some of the things that I was looking at. This last part of the video, since I moved back into, when I moved back into the shop, other side of the shop here, this is the third time I did these videos. The first time I did it, I didn't like the lighting, so I said, okay, I got to do that again. And then the second time I did it, I tried to do it in 8K, but when I brought it back and put it on my computer can't handle it. It's not a new computer, and so it just crashed the program. So I couldn't do that. In fact, even 4K was too much. So this is videoed on 1080p. It's still high definition, but it could be a little bit better. On a really, really big screen, you'll notice, but the students are on a cell phone, so that doesn't make a whole lot of a difference to them because they're on a small screen. So this whole last part is, I've recorded that 3 times. So I got pretty good at what I wanted to do by the time I was done. So that's what I've got. Thank you.